Welcome back, game developers. We're diving into another exciting episode of our tutorial series. Today's session might be shorter, but it's packed with thrilling additions that will really bring our game to life. Let's kick things off with something a bit different. Collectible items for our player. For now, we're keeping it straightforward. When our player touches an item, it simply disappears. No fancy effects yet, but the mechanic is in place and working smoothly. Now, let's take this a step further. Remember those destructible objects we created in our last episode? We're going to combine them with our new collectible items. Now, when we destroy an object, it generates a collectible item. This simple change adds a whole new layer of strategy to our gameplay. Imagine the possibilities. We can now reward our player for exploring and interacting with the environment. But here's where things get really exciting. It's time to introduce enemies. Let's start with something simple but effective, a basic turret that tracks our player. See how it rotates to follow our hero's movements? At this stage, our enemies are still harmless. They can't shoot back yet. But don't worry, we'll get to that soon enough. Speaking of enemies, why stop at stationary turrets? Let's amp up the challenge by adding enemies that can chase our player. See how they relentlessly pursue our hero across the screen? Things are really starting to heat up now. And for the grand finale of today's episode, let's give our enemies some teeth. It's time to arm them. We'll use the same shooting mechanic we developed for our player. Now our enemies aren't just obstacles, they're a real threat. Look at that. Our game is transforming into a true action-packed experience right before our eyes. As we wrap up this episode, take a moment to appreciate how far we've come. We started with a simple moving cube, and now we have a game with collectibles, destructible environments, and various enemy types. Each small addition has brought us closer to a fully fledged game. Remember, game development is all about building complexity gradually. By tackling one feature at a time, we're creating a solid foundation for an awesome game. In our next episode, we'll take a bit of a breather from all this action. It's time to add some polish to our game with a user interface and a dialogue system. Stay tuned, because our game is really starting to take shape. See you in the next episode, where we'll continue to evolve our creation into something truly special.